Robert Williams. They have draft picks. If you could get Damian Lillard alongside Jason Tatum with the addition of Porzingis, that would be a nice big three in the Eastern Conference. Because again, Jason Tatum is coming up for a contract extension in about a year or two. So with that being said, you want to make sure you do right by him as well. And so we know that Dame wants to get to a contender team. This is a Celtic team that was actually in the NBA Finals 2 seasons ago. So when I look at the Celtics, I will be knocking and calling and blowing the Trailblazers' phone up to try to get Damian Lillard to the Boston Celtics.
That's an interesting thought. And if you are being biased, it's okay. We understand. You have a little bit of history with that franchise. All right, let's move to James Harden now. Which team do you think should be trying to get him on their team?
The Philadelphia 76ers.
Okay.
I strongly believe that James Harden should stay, Jay. Like, where is he going? Because, I mean, when you think about Joel Embiid and you think about what they done last season in the pick and roll, it was a beautiful thing to watch. And right now, James Harden really don't have any leverage when it comes down to how he controls if he want to try to control a trade or whatever the case may be. Philadelphia has all the leverage in the world. They have James Harden under contract. Once he opted in, he turned over his rights. And now you have to play it out if you're James Harden. You can't come in disgruntled or with an attitude because you want your money. You got to get your lettuce. So if I'm the Philadelphia 76ers, I'm holding on to James Harden, especially with the new coach in Nick Nurse.
Yeah, wherever he goes or if he stays, you would expect him to play really well this season to get that cash. All right, Perk, I will see you later in the show. Bring that jacket back with you because I like it. It's nice. Looks good on you.
Well, I appreciate you, my brother.
I hate to interrupt this fashion segment. Catching you up on some free agency moves. One of the first big names to come off the board, that was Kyrie Irving signing a 3-year deal to stay in Dallas with the Mavericks, a contract getting him an average annual salary of $42 million. Another player to lock up his future, Draymond Green back with the Warriors, 4-year deal, $100 million. Former Defensive Player of the Year, now under contract through 26-27. Bucks bringing him back. Two big names able to both come back, help them contend in the East. Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez staying in Milwaukee on multiple-year deals. And how about those Houston Rockets? Giving Fred VanVleet a max contract over 3 years. Plus, they add Dylan Brooks to the mix. Really nice deal for him. 4 years, $80 million. That's over $200 million invested in those two players. A lot of cap space for the Rockets, making use of it. We also saw some players that were not free agents lock in some long-term extensions. How about LaMelo Ball, Tyrese Halliburton, both signing rookie max extensions worth up to $260 million. Also of note, Domantas Sabonis left a little bit of money on the table, still added $195 million worth of new money to that contract. Mind-boggling as Brian Windhorst is back with us to talk about one notable omission from that list. And you just heard Big Perk talking about the Celtics. So let's get into the Jaylen Brown situation as he averaged almost 27 points last season, most in his career. They have not signed him to an extension. What is the situation there as he's eligible to become a free agent after next season?
Yeah, Hannah, Jaylen Brown, there's a lot of business left for the Celtics. They've got a lot going on. Jaylen Brown is eligible. It's a giant number to add 5 years and $270 million in a supermax extension this offseason. And the sides are talking. This is obviously a very important, fragile deal. I know that there's interest on both sides to get something done, and I would expect it to head in that direction. The one thing that's to point out, if Jaylen Brown does extend on this deal, he could not be traded for a year, for any deal at all. He's prohibited from being traded. So the Celtics probably want to make sure all their business is locked down before going into this. They also have had talks about trading Malcolm Brogdon. They almost made a deal with the Clippers before the draft. Brogdon may still end up being on the market. And they have Grant Williams, who's a restricted free agent who they may or may not be able to bring back. So all of those things with Boston are still on the table, but specifically the Jaylen Brown situation.
Why do you call it fragile, really quickly?
Well, I just think it'll get done, But, he's eligible for up to 35% of the salary cap, but he doesn't have to get that. The Celtics can negotiate on that. They can negotiate on a player option. They can negotiate on several things. So it's not as simple as saying, Jaylen, here's your contract, sign it or not. There's aspects within the deal that you got to negotiate, and until it's done, it's not done.
Yeah, crazy. He's already at 26, played in 105 playoff games for the Celtics. Windy, thank you.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.